Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing integers. I'm just going to show you a few quick tricks and a few examples, but I'm not going to show you why those tricks work. Instead, I'm going to save that for another video. So if you would like to know why these rules exist, stay tuned and watch the next video. But for now, I'm just going to show you the bare bones of what you need to know before you multiply and divide integers. As we already know, there's two types of integers. There are negative integers and positive integers. That means that when we multiply two numbers together, there are a total of 4 possibilities. So we're going to go through each possibility first. So the first possibility could be that I start off with a positive number and I multiply that with another positive number. Okay, then the next option is that I have, well, again, I start with a positive number, but maybe instead this time I multiply it by a negative number. Another option is that maybe my first number is negative. I multiply that with a positive number. And my last option is if I have a negative number and I multiply that by another negative number. These are my 4 options. And there are only, two different options for each outcome. So a positive times a positive, I'm hoping that's fairly obvious because we've been multiplying positive numbers for a very long time. So a positive number times another positive number is positive. A positive number times a negative number is negative. A negative number times a positive number is negative. And finally, a negative number times another negative number is positive. Now, if you don't understand why these rules are the way they are, don't sweat it. You can find out in the next video. So the first one here in red, -4 times +5. You might notice that there is no plus sign in front of the 5. It's important to know that we can actually just write the number 5, and that's the same thing as writing +5. Positive numbers are just any number that's greater than 0. So sometimes we won't actually write the plus sign in front of a positive number. So we have a negative number times a positive number, which means that our answer is going to be negative, because a negative times a positive, if we go over here, a negative times a positive is a negative number. Okay, so we've got -4 times +5. That's going to be -20, because 4 times 5 is 20. Next one, in green, we have +6 times +7. So that would be this one over here, positive times a positive. So positive times a positive is positive. So 6 times 7, that is 42. And because we have a positive times a positive, that gives us a positive answer. Now, if you wanted, you could just leave that positive sign out. You could just leave it as 42. That's okay as well. In yellow, we have a negative times another negative. So a negative times a negative is a positive. So let's get rid of this. So a negative times a negative is positive. So we've got +36, okay, because 9 times 4 is 36. And just like the last one, because we have a positive number, we can leave that plus sign out of the whole mix. Finally, in blue, we have a positive times a negative over here. So a positive times a negative, that's going to be negative. Positive times a negative is negative, so I'm going to write the minus sign, and we'll do, 3 times 4 is 12. And that's it. So I'll do a few more examples with division, but the thing about division is that it has the same rules as multiplication. So if you're comfortable doing integer multiplication, chances are you'll be comfortable doing integer division as well. When it comes to dividing integers, we have all the same options as multiplying integers. So we could have a positive divided by a positive divided by a negative, and so on. So let's just do this. So a positive divided by a positive, well, that is a positive. A positive divided by a negative, that's negative. A negative divided by a positive, that's also negative. And finally, a negative divided by another negative is positive. That's it. It's all the same rules as multiplication. The way that I like to think about it is that if the two signs are the same, when you're multiplying or dividing, you'll get a positive. So a positive divided by a positive, those are the same, you get a positive back. A negative divided by another negative, well, we get a positive back. However, if the signs are different, so here we have a positive and a negative, and here we have a negative divided by a positive, then that means that the signs are different, so the outcome is negative. Okay, we're only going to do 2 examples here just to speed things up. Let's start with the first one. Let's say I've got 18 divided by negative 9. Well, here I have a positive divided by a negative. So a positive divided by a negative is going to be negative. And 18 divided by 9 is 2. So this is negative 2. Next one here in red, I've got a negative divided by a positive, and negative divided by a positive is also negative. So that leaves me with the value that I need. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. And that's it. So it's the same sort of stick as multiplication, except instead of doing the multiplication, you do division. But when it comes to the signs, that's where they come from. That's all, and I hope you feel engaged to watch the video about why these rules are the way they are, but those are optional. Have a good day.